Good morning, everybody. Monday morning, Texas Homer here. Eric Naline, Coach Dub. The season has ended. So now we are in off-season mode. We are in personnel GM mode. Each one of us are mini GMs right now. We're figuring out, can Texas retain some key talent like we've seen with some of the top teams the past couple of years? We had the latest recruits arrive on campus. And of course, too, we can talk about the season and what we enjoyed from that as well. Brett Nelson is getting some flack at work. That's disappointing, Brett. I'm sorry to hear that. Good morning, Elio. All right. First things first, player retention seems key, right? Ohio State was able to do that. Michigan was able to do that. That seems like kind of the new name of the game. If you don't have guys that are clearly going super early, then hey, let's try to work a deal here and get them to return. They can up their stock, still make money, and of course, it benefits the Longhorns. So, kind of, Eric, where are we at with key players and who are we trying to retain right now?
Yeah, if Ohio State wins a national championship, they really won it last December and January when they got half the roster back. I mean, the list of guys that were second to mid-round picks that they got to return, it never would have happened pre-NIL. A lot of those guys would have just gone and gotten paid. It's like 7 or 8 guys. Texas doesn't have that many that are that have options to come back that are that quality, but it has a handful. The goal is to get them back. I don't know. If I say the goal is to do something and it doesn't come through, I kind of catch flack for it. But I'm saying their goal is to get these guys back. Now, whether or not they can pull it off is a different matter. And no, Kelvin Banks wasn't part of that equation. Nobody ever expected Kelvin back. And Jaden Blue was not part of that equation either. All right, that's not who we're talking about. We're talking about, can they get Matthew Golden back? That's going to be tough. Trey Moore, I actually feel pretty decent about that. Cam Williams, information in the last couple of days has been more positive on Cam returning than it had been. So we're monitoring that one. And then, Michael Taft, I think the guy needs 10 more pounds. I don't think he needs another year from a mental standpoint. I don't think he needs it really in any other way other than he should just be, live in the kitchen and the weight room and just try to pack on as much weight as possible. He does, it's unfortunate. Most kids that don't go to the NFL, it's because, or that shouldn't go to the NFL, it's because, they're not mentally or fundamentally ready. He's ready in all those regards. It's just that he's got to put on some weight. So we'll see what he decides. He's also got a chip on his shoulder the size of Cam Williams that I wrote. And so sometimes those guys want to go pro and prove everybody wrong. But if they can get 3 or 4 of those guys, if they get all 4, you're talking about being a resounding favorite to win it all next year. I think Texas is already going to be preseason number 1 if they just keep doing what they're doing in the portal. But get those guys back, they're off and running.
Rank the most important players y'all want to come back. Golden,
yeah, definitely number 1.
I don't know. Then it gets kind of. What does Taft do with it? Is Williams and Derek and Jonah are going to place? That's where it's figuring out with Taft, right? He still stays number 1. We rotate a young guy. I would say maybe Taft because we're going to go from having such a good, intelligent, mature secondary to a younger one. So he might be a stabilizing force there.
Cam, I don't know. It kind of depends on. You can replace Golden in the portal easier than you can replace Cam Williams in the portal. And I'm not saying Golden's easy to replace, and it's probably going to be hard to do it because they're almost out of portal here, and then you got a spring portal window that's a lot shorter. But I think they really got to get the running game going. And Cam Williams, if he brings his power to bear better and more consistently, better technique, fundamentals, that's going to be a big part of the running game. So I might have Cam Williams number 1, even though we were just talking about offline on Golden. If Golden came back, if DeAndre Moore still has drops, you could play Golden in the slot and then play one of those talented true freshmen outside. Obviously, Ryan Wingo is going to be outside as well. Yeah. And then Taft, I mean, you got a lot of young safeties. Who better to bring the young safeties along? Blake Gideon can't go out there with them. You might as well send Taft, who's better than the coach on the field reputation, a lot better than that. But at the same time, he has that value as well.
And then Trey's a little different because I feel really good about edge. So it's like I love Trey. Don't get me wrong; he's mature, and I think in the run game, it's not going to hurt us ever to have Trey. But I am interested to see the edge depth.
Man, I think depth is better there, but man, he could have a huge impact on those 3rd and longs where you're losing Jahdae Barron. Your coverage doesn't have to be quite as great as it was if the pass rush improves again. You've got depth for Colin, but also, I mean, Collins, they'd like to rotate that position. Colin's not going to always be out there. even though we probably wish he was. But Trey's going to play. Trey would play a lot. He's got people in his ear that are explaining the virtues of being out on the field at the same time as Colin Simmons when there's only so many blockers for you, right? Colin's going to demand a lot of attention, and his numbers are going to improve. While he's not going to get taller or longer or much bigger for the NFL, if he proves his production the last half of the season wasn't a fluke and has a full season like that, right, it's going to make the NFL believe that he can overcome whatever physical limitations he has, even if it's just as a sub-package player. So, I'm curious. They're all four important. Golden and Cam Williams would be great, but man, I think Taft is instrumental too. You got young safeties out there. Derek Williams coming off injury, so we'll see. That's the goal. We're not sure what they'll be able to pull off. They're going to have a good team next year, no matter what. And especially if you look at the rest of the nation. I mean, who has a better quarterback situation going into next year? So Texas is going to be good either way. But man, we're talking about becoming the overwhelming favorites. I mean, that retention, December, January is why I had Ohio State winning it all this year.
That's a good point,
Coach. How do you feel? Me and Eric did cop out. So if you want to actually rank them, we'll put it on you to force you to do it.
So I'll leave with veterans. I think that's key. I think we talked about it, and you've mentioned it. That's why Ohio State's so good. They got so many veterans. And if you look at all the teams that have won it, even Michigan last year, they had a ton of veterans. Like the good teams have a ton of veterans. And so the more you can get back, the better. You got the QB of the defense in Taft. I put him 1A, and I'll put Golden 1B, only because they need leadership in both rooms, right? In the safety room and the receiver room. I don't know, seeing Gooseby step up. He'll probably play left tackle because Banks is gone, but you got so many offensive linemen. I kind of trust Coach Flood to develop and find the next guy at tackle. Not sure who it would be, but if Cam wants to leave, then hey, I feel like he can be replaced just because of the development of Cal Flood, what he does with the room, right? But safety with the communication in the back end, I think is like second to none. We need that guy back because he gets everybody else lined up and what the defense does. And then you go Golden. Just needing a reliable number one target. Not saying Wingo can't be that. I just feel like an older guy who gets it. You need it. You saw it in the game. If we had Golden most of that game, we would have had number one target. I think he would have probably destroyed both those corners for Ohio State. But I would say 1A, 1B. And then I'll go Trey. Even though we got depth behind him and Vosick, who got a ton of snaps versus Ohio State. I guess he's healthy with the back and things like that. Having Trey Moore and Colin Simmons, man, that he just creates such a dominance off the edge. Them two together next year will wreak havoc on anybody in the backfield. So instead, you can still rotate in Burke, and then you got Bosick on the other side behind those two. But that's how I would rank them. I'll go 1A, 1B, Taft, and Golden, then maybe Cam, and then Trey.
Good. Yeah, I'm down with you there. Is either McDonald or Williams considered a heady safety?
They have the traits to do it. Yeah, for sure. They're still a little young. Derek missing so much of this year. It was not great for his development. They have McDonald's got a natural football player's disposition. They both have it. It's just, it requires a little bit of time. You've got to see some things. You've got to screw it up. You got to get yelled at a few times. You've got to endure video on Monday. And you got to learn from your mistakes. But yeah, they both have it. They're not. I don't want to bring up a former player. It's not like a Keaton Crawford situation where it's, that's probably just never going to happen. Or there's a couple guys that stay at corner because they don't have it. So yeah, they have it to be really good. Jelani McDonald has significant upside. He's going to be an incredible player. Hopefully Derek comes back healthy because they need all three of those guys. If Taft comes back, and then a fourth has to emerge. Maybe it's Jonah Williams, maybe it's Jordan Johnson-Rebel. We'll see.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about Aaron Butler?
He had a good year on scout team. That's where he started. Played wide receiver a lot, would mimic the more athletic quarterbacks on scout team, and really improved over time and earned his way onto the regular squad. He'd go back and forth between scout and regular squad. People say he's a hell of an athlete. They've got him playing outside receiver. Hell of an athlete. Obviously, at Texas, you got to be more than just a hell of an athlete. You've got to be on the same page as the quarterback. You've got to kind of earn experience over time before you fully earn the coach's trust. But does he have the talent? Obviously, the athletic talent is there. Does a good job catching the ball, vertical threat, explosive player. But now it's coming down to reliability. And that's where, you got to keep developing. And that's, spring will be big for him. But yeah, the athleticism is exciting, but they want well-rounded receivers, not just athletic ones.
LB core should be stacked next year.
Well, I mean, it's not a ton of bodies, but I mean, the bodies they have, they're all really good. Leonga started playing a lot better, but we got to shout out David Benda.
Dude, great
yeah,
game. That was
yeah.
awesome to see from Benda, man.
Man, that hyped me up. You know,
So me
that
too. Yeah.
hyped me up. I felt bad for him. Kind of seen his role diminished. I was talking with somebody that, you know, isn't in the program anymore, but knows him quite well, and kind of felt like he got a raw end of the deal there. But he just, you know, he's making plays, and he, you know, he never complained. He was always out there. Every time he got in there, he gave 100%. Gave 100% in the offseason in the weight room. That was awesome to see him. That's going to be a loss. But you know, everything that they wanted him to come back and sold him to coming back on, even though he got, you know, sort of a diminished role, showed. I mean, yeah, I think he's going to end up in an NFL camp. He could become a special teams demon. But you know, Anthony Hill. Yeah, another year off season is going to be good for him. We got to. I think it's probably time to enjoy him. If he gets better in his run fits, if he gets better in his run fits, he's going to be hell on wheels. One of the best players in the country next year defensively for sure. Leonga Lafau needs to keep developing on the run fits. Of course, you saw him overrun quite a bit this year. That happens with young linebackers. It's nice when you can get all this experience in a year when you go 13-3 and make it to the semifinal. Ty Anthony's got all the natural traits, just needs to get bigger. And then, you know, that the addition of Brad Spence is really exciting. I think if they do lead Trey Moore, Brad Spence could find himself in a position where he's rotating between linebacker, edge, playing Sam when they go with the bigger personnel. So they've got it's a really good core, I would say. And then you got Bo Barnes coming in, who, you know, he's probably going to play a little bit as a freshman, but not a ton of bodies there. But what they have is high quality. There's absolutely zero dead weight.
Agree with that one.
Any smoke to what Ian was talking about, moving Trey Moore to linebacker?
No, that was me. That was me kind of just offering an opinion, you know, months ago. You know, talking about the NFL scrutiny on him is going to be lack of length for edge in the NFL. You're going up against guys that are 6'7" with, you know, 35-inch arms. It's ridiculous. But he has the movement skills and the intelligence to play off-ball linebacker. So I speculate at the time, but once they got Brad Spence, that pretty much to me went out the window. You know, I just didn't see the need anymore. But I was looking for a mutually beneficial situation where he could fill a need at Texas and also maybe improve his draft stock by moving to a position that's probably more suitable for him, or that might be more suitable for him. But no, I don't. That's not gonna happen. If he came back, it would be edge 100%.
I'm most interested in following Neto and Ty Anthony Smith in the spring.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch Neto going up against these grown men that just got out of the portal at D tackle. You know, it's kind of been unfair for a lot of these offensive linemen going up against that assembly line that they had nothing but NFL guys one after another. But Neto needs to step up, man. It's now or never for him. We keep hearing about him. You know, Hayden Connor was a really good pass blocker. I think Neto's a better run blocker, and I would rather take the run blocking right now for running inside zone.
I think that's the key to next year, man, is interior run blocking ability, because that's what was one of the linchpins that brought the season down.
Yep.
What about the USC? What about the USC? Are we going to potentially play him at guard? Is he a tackle? What is he?
It's a big kid.
Yeah,
he would be competition. You've got to have competition. One thing, I wrote an article this morning talking about guys that need to step up. I started looking around, I'm like, man, they need some more portal guys, because I don't think the competition is quite as robust as it has been. So he would not only be competition, he'd be a credible starter. But I think the goal, and it ties into this question here, who's going to be the center. I think it's going to be Cole Hudson.
Yeah.
And so if Cole Hudson is at center, you know, you start looking at depth. All right, who's your depth at guard? It could always be Cole Hudson to move back over a guard if you feel good about your backup center. But do they feel good about their backup center? I have never written that. So I think, I think that guy is 50-50 to end up at Texas, from what I heard this morning. Emmanuel Pregnon from USC. And where was he at before that? This is the second school. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, it was Wyoming, I believe. Wyoming and USC. Texas, I hear, is 50-50 for him. Would be a good get. We've addressed that they want to become a much better inside zone running team, and that's exactly why they would bring him in. You know, if these guys aren't getting it done, time to get somebody else that will. But
We-
Neto's an upgrade to Connor. Cole's an upgrade on Majors as far as running downhill. Now there's other trade-offs with Majors, leadership, making all the right calls, all that experience and other things. But as far as running downhill inside zone, they should be able to get it done with Neto, Cole, and DJ Campbell. And then if you add Pregnon, it's even better. But yeah, that should be the goal: inside zone and play action.
Good stuff. Guys, before we keep going, Andre the Lawyer.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
Thank you, LC. Is Bond a possibility to be back? Fun subject.
I don't think so. You know, I don't know. We'll see what we want to say after, but let's get resolution on that one. But you know, there's 3 guys that were probably a little polarizing in the program. And 2 of them are gone now, so I don't know. I think it's probably going to be 3rd time's a charm on that one. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. He's talented. I don't want to talk out of turn. See how it goes, but he's a talented player. They lacked the dynamism in the passing game when he was out. So. Yeah. It wouldn't break my heart if he came back, but I'd be surprised.
Here's to bring back Cam and Golden Fund. We appreciate that.
Sweet. $1 in each direction. That'll work.
Yeah, that'll work.
Hey, you never know. It's like every vote counts, every dollar counts.
Well, also, we're not done, Eric. Add a 5 to that.
Okay.
This is a movement we're starting here. Thanks, Brett.
We appreciate it. We'll forward it on to the proper people. But yeah, I was talking to people yesterday. They're like, man, we need to go all in. And not just in this, if they don't, whatever they don't get in this portal window, that's going to be a massive fundraising effort to go as big as possible in the spring. You know, I think a lot of players are on contracts that run spring to spring. So that's you know, and that goes in Texas's direction too. They're going to have to be cognizant of retaining some people. But yeah, the spring window I think is going to be pretty busy. And Texas did well last year getting Lole and Norton.
Why do you think it was so slow this year? Because we were playing and coaches just didn't love the selection, or why do you think it wasn't a ton of momentum in the portal?
Well, just what we reported is, you know, they saw the guys they liked and they got really aggressive in the first week. Not just the guys they landed. You know, they hosted the tight end that ended up going to Ohio State.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking around at a whole different team next year. Ohio State's going to be like Michigan with their drop off, but you know, for our Go Bucks fan that's posting in here, enjoy it while you can. We'll see you in August. But they got the guys they liked, and then not a lot more went in that they liked. You know, they kicked the tires on a lot. It's not like they quit evaluating. They looked over everybody and just said no, not a fit. You know, the Singleton wide receiver, it's, you know, just didn't seem like they didn't like his hands and consistency. So they're very patient. It always adds to the anxiety of fans because they're so patient, but they always have a plan, and that plan almost always comes to fruition. So I've learned by now. If you haven't learned by now to trust them, I don't think you ever will. You're probably eating your fingers raw like Jose Altuve, but you ought to just relax and let it play out.
Yeah, normally I get frustrated when fans are like, trust the coaches, because a lot of times it has nothing to back it up. But this actual staff has done this like 8 times. So whenever it's actually time to trust the staff, this is one of the few staffs.
We had that a lot, the appeal to authority when it was Charlie Strong and Tom Herman. Well, are you a coach? Like, no, I'm not a coach, but I've been right like the last 10 times I criticized this guy.
Dude, what's funny is they'll ask if you're a coach. The average coach tenure is like 3 years. Like, coaches are super unreliable and get it wrong clearly all the time. They're fired more than anyone in any job ever. But we have this weird thing of like, you have to trust them. It's like they are gone every 3 years. They don't even trust them.
Yeah, half of them lose every week. But Steve Sarkisian is earned my trust long ago. I might have a criticism here or there, Silas Bolden should have got more targets. The Ryan Wingo should have got the ball more, but they're minor criticisms as far as like overall. I don't even criticize that play call on second down because I file that under stuff happens. You have a lot of good calls. You have a couple bad ones. And, unfortunately, he had a bad one in a high leverage situation. That doesn't make him a bad play caller. So, bitching about one call is just not going to do any good.
I have a tweet where I talk about in defense of Sark on that play call because I give like 8 factors that could potentially have been going through his head there on why he did it. Also, people crack me up because it's like they're talking about that pitch out like he called it for -7 yards. They're like, why would he do that? It's like, guys, he didn't want the -7 yards part. He wanted to score on that part.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard one for me to defend, but you should make your criticisms and your analysis based on standards, not outliers. Anybody that argues on outliers is I don't know, it's a waste of time. It's not going to be fruitful. If it's a thematic thing where he's always struggling or a bad play caller in general, well, he got to this job. He got the job because of his play calling.
Right.
So the standard with him is to be a good play caller. He's had a couple high leverage situations. Cesaro says, who said that? Somebody. Yeah. Okay. Joey Austin mentions Sark needs to hire a red zone consultant. I think Sark needs to hire a couple portal offensive linemen and a running back to run inside and pound the ball in.
This is a good transition.
That's who he needs to hire.
All right, and before you say that, I would say, being a Patriots fan, we ran that exact same play in overtime versus Atlanta Falcons and scored.
Right.
So,
so I'll give you guys something real quick. Ohio State has the #1 red zone defense in the country. We're 111th on offense. We're 97th in the country in rushing power success rate. We can't run in short yardage. And we're 91st in rushing stuff rate, meaning we get stopped behind the line. The play before that, we're in 14 personnel with all huge bodies get stuffed. And then also Ohio State has made several goal line stands all season like Texas. That's something they pride themselves on. So there's a ton of factors here. It was an indictment of Sark saying, I don't think we can get it. Then you also saw in the presser afterwards, he said, hey, we got stuffed on that first one. If you can't do that, you don't deserve to win. So there was a lot of factors there, and it was Sark basically trying to tell us that he thought our odds was better to pitch that ball out than to get it up and go through the gut.
Just throw it 4 times and try to hope that you can go 1 of 4 for 1 yard. That's what I would have done. But I'm not going to make a career out of criticizing the man.
Yeah.
We need a power. This is a good transition, Bert. We need a power running back in the portal if we're going to run inside zone. I would argue we don't even need when I say power running back, I think of like a third down back. We just need a running back. We need a every down back.
Agree.
Any quality volume back will do. And you don't have to be 220 pounds to be a good inside runner. Give me Darren Sproles right now.
True.
I think Jarrett Gibson's got the traits to do it. He's got to get better on the fundamentals. That's what another offseason is going to be for. They seem to be pretty optimistic Baxter will be back, but Jaden Blue leaving, I think signals to me that they're going to have to take somebody. It's tougher for me to believe that Christian Clark will be able to come back and be ready. He has, no college experience yet. I do think Simon might be able to play relatively early, but to me, it seems like they need a good running back, and it just needs to be I don't care how big he is. Does he have tape of him running inside? Part of running inside is acceleration to and through the hole. You don't have to be 220 pounds to get through that hole. Sometimes, everybody gets caught up, I think, on moving the pile. But Jerry Gibson has the traits to be a very, very good inside runner. So, we'll see. I do think they're going to be able to get a running back. We got a lot of people talking about the tush push.
Yeah, I've heard that. I heard put arch in. I heard throw it and tush push. I think all the variations to that make sense. That's why the play is so fun and controversial, because there's 90 different ways that you can argue it. It's fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of counterfactuals. It's not going to do us any good. There's just setbacks. He's got to get over the hump, and he will. This is what it looks like while you're getting over it. This is the Clemsoning period before he wins a couple like Dabo.
Well, this is the Ohio State period. This is the Michigan period,
the Georgia period.
Because it was Sark can't even win 10 games. We cleared that hurdle. Sark can't win anything. Sark can't win anything of substance. Sark wins the Big 12. So now the next phase of haterism is, Sark can't win the big game, and then in a couple years Sark will win the big game, and then it'll be Sark can't win too. Sark
Yeah.
can't win 3. It's a
Yeah.
never-ending cycle. This is how
Jordan,
trades work.
Jordan can't beat the Pistons. Yeah, it's just that entire thing, and it's a process. He keeps improving over time, keeps evolving. Yeah, so the resolve is there to be a great program. Let's see who they can get to retain, get back to campus. Who can they get out of the portal? But the foundation and the bones are there through great roster management to be good again next year.
Why do you think Texas O-line was better at pass protection than run blockers? That's been consistent for a few years. I think with any coaching, what you're better at is probably likely what you emphasized more. What do you think, Coach?
Definitely think they emphasize it more. But I don't know. To me, it's just really mental, right? I mean, they're probably used to catch it more than you are going forward. And then when you rep that so much, it just becomes a habit of you, especially with the RPO. You're not really going downfield, right? So because you can't go downfield in the RPO because he made through it. So you're not used to firing off and just finishing in blocks. And I think it became a habit of them just running the offense versus them saying, all right, we're just going to load up and go forward and pound guys into the ground and drive them off the ball each and every play because it's just not your offense. Everything's RPO. And if you go too far downfield on RPO, you get a flag, right? So I don't think those guys got used to finishing just because with the way the offense is built. That's just me personally, though.
I think that's part of it, but part of it's the personnel. Hayden Connor would be an air raid offensive tackle, and you got him playing guard. He's a very good pass protector, not a drive blocker. Jake Maters, we know, is not really a drive blocker, more of a on the move guy. Get to the second level if you can. And Cam Williams, I don't care what he looks like. When we wrote about him coming in, we said actually he's further ahead as a pass blocker than he is as a run blocker. It doesn't matter that he was 360 pounds when we wrote that. It was just it was actually more of a testament to how big of a freak he was, because nobody that big is usually ahead of as a pass blocker.
In Duncanville, man, you could see it when in high school he was a better pass blocker. It was strange.
Yeah, and so I think it's personnel as much as anything. Now, there's times where DJ Campbell and Cameron Williams should be drive blocking people into the stands. There's just it's the physics should be in their favor. But that's what they've got to fix this year, is get to more of a inside zone play action. Arch throws bombs, take advantage of that. But you got to be able to run it first. First and foremost, it's the number one thing I'm looking forward to. Last offseason, we talked all offseason about the defensive cohesion between the three levels being the most important factor. We felt good about that based on our reporting all offseason, that they were trending in the right direction, and that came through. Hopefully, we're seeing another successful offseason with at least the number one thing I'm looking forward to. But I think most people will be looking at that. Got to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
Yep. Got some more back.
Cam Williams is hurt. All right, he's out there. He's hurt. Let's go to this one real quick. Just to Blake Bryant's not saying anything wrong here, but a lot of fans just don't know what's going on. Last offseason we heard Jahdae Barron couldn't cover. He can't go to corner because he can't cover because he was hurt late in the season, playing nickel in a much more physical position. It took a toll on him. Cam Williams is hurt. He's going to get scoped. All right, so he was out there trying to give it all he had, and so all he can do is tip your cap and appreciate him doing that.
Yeah. This is something that I want to warn fans on. We have an every down back. He just happened to tear his ACL in camp. Love Baxter. That kid's mental eval is incredible. He's got size. He's got all of that. Yeah. But in year one, guys, he was middle of the pack, technically below average in yards per attempt. He was middle of the pack in yards after contact per attempt, and he was below average in breakaway percentage. So acting like it's not Bijan that we lost and coming back is a guaranteed killer at running back. Did we miss him this season? Sorely and clearly. But I don't want this to dissuade from adding a portal running back here. So I've heard this kind of thing of if we had Baxter, the season's totally different. We can't prove that. I hope that's the case, though. I love that kid.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking about, we talked about watching his film as the year got on. He came more of a downhill running through tackles, not let people just, swipe at his feet and knock him down. He got better, kind of like Wisner did, right? The more carries he got, the better he got. So maybe they're looking at the way he finished last year, maybe hoping he would have been that guy, but you never know, man. You can't.
He chucked a guy or two in the spring game too, and that spring game had Sark and the boys pretty excited about him. But I'll take a little bit different approach to Homer here, even though I mean you can't really dispute what he's saying. But he came in, he got to college as a gap scheme runner. where basically he's on a glide path. He knows exactly where the hole's supposed to be. And, you know, it was more often than not, it was there. So that makes for a more assertive, confident back. It allows him to unleash his athleticism and power more, whereas running zone had a much more apprehensive as a freshman. So I don't know how great he was going to be this year. Clearly, again, I agree with Homer that it was a loss. This year might have been the one where he got much more comfortable running zone before it actually breaks out. You know, we'll never know. But he still needs some experience running zone. Like I said, if you watch him all in high school, he's killing it in gap schemes, and it's a lot more easier. Doesn't require as much natural ability. He has a natural ability. We feel confident, but he needs more reps.
But also, he had one of his best games versus Washington. He went for like 6.9 yards per carry, minus the fumble. So Baxter in that final Washington game that he did play was balling.
He was.
So it's not to say that Baxter's not going to be a good player. I'm not saying that. But it's just, you know, we can't just act like Bijan went down and he's going to come right back and crush it, you know?
Yeah.
Coach, what were you going to say?
No, I was just agreeing. This is the way he finished last season, especially in the Washington game. He was, like I said, running through tackles. I think people look at that and say, okay, he could have got the 1 yard, right? Because one person can't bring him down tomorrow. But, I mean, like you said, you just never know. I think the hope was there. The promise is there, but you just never know how it would have turned out this year.
I mean, it's not guaranteed he wouldn't got hurt in week 7. Week 6. You know, it sucks because they put so much emphasis on running back, and to have that bad luck kind of hit them all at once. You know, there was times I'm sitting there going, do they really need to take 2 running backs in every single class? Well, apparently so. So we'll see. But again, man, just go get another good volume back, and they can platoon it next year and be really, really good. Especially if Baxter takes 6-7 weeks of the season to truly get right after coming back from injury. But if they can get Wisner back to a third down role, special teams player, that will be a huge win for the offseason.
It also seems like Baxter went into the cave. A lot of people don't understand with athlete injuries, these guys are exercising all the time. It's literally their job. And then you get injured. You don't get to exercise. That sends you into depression pretty quick. And so it seems too that he went into the depression cave. He wrote about it and he came back on the other side. That's the good part, because some guys can go into that physical and mental cave for a while and they're totally different. He seems like he's done the full kind of journey of what it means to have a serious injury.
Yeah, it wouldn't break my heart if the lack of being able to be active put 10 pounds on him either.
Right. All right, guys, before we keep going, Laura Baker.
Hi, I want to tell you about Laura Baker. If you're looking for a new home in the 512 or even at this point, let's face it, 737 area code, there's only one number to call. That's Laura Baker at 512-784-0505. As a member of the elite Andy Allen team with Keller Williams, Laura has helped Longhorns find the home of their dreams in Central Texas. Just ask our resident sex symbol, Ian Boyd, who moved all the way from Michigan to Texas with Laura's help. Laura can help you find what you're looking for in the 512, the 737, or even parts of the 254 and the 210. Just, give her a call at 512-784-0505. Her email is in the description, as well as the rest of her contact details. She's a friend. Give her a call.
Tito, call it. Who will be our impact freshman next season?
Justice Terry.
Okay.
Dang, that's a good one.
Well, you got to, when you do this, you always have to factor need.
Right. There's no DTs.
Yeah.
We need.
And he's already on campus and practicing, so we've already got intel on him that speaks very well of him. Everything's positive. I think I wrote, the thoughts on him are through the roof the other day, mentally and as a person, as an athlete. So I think you got to go him. But also, I could see him being like the 5th or 6th DT, but he's out there on third down and long, so he's going to make a lot of splash plays. So kind of equate him to Anthony Hill having his rush package as a freshman, or Colin Simmons this season, where he's out there able to just pin his ears back. I don't think they're going to have him out there on 4th and 1. He's not going to be Bill Norton with his gut hanging out. But I think he's going to be able to make an impact. But there's some other candidates. One of those freshmen is going to catch 30 passes.
I was going to say, especially if Golden leaves, one of the wide receivers.
Yeah. I definitely would have chose French, just in case. As a position of need, a young guy have to step up. I would have chose French.
What if? I could see them doing something with Jonah too. Some sort of package for him that gets him on the field. Maybe they go with the 3 safety look that has him playing, around the coming downhill in the box or something. I don't know. they'll do what they're going to go in the direction of their 5-star talents take them. They'll if they're reliable and they trust you enough, they're gonna put you out there. So they've got a lot of true freshman 5-stars that are frankly really hungry.
Did Texas give the Irish a game plan to beat Ohio State? I mean, they gave you a game plan to limit Smith, that's for sure.
Yeah, right.
But but it's not even Texas game. I mean, Michigan kind of had this game plan too. Like,
Yes.
the reality is this, man. If you can play 2 high safety and stop Ibuka and Smith from going over the top and getting explosives, and then on the inverse, play an honest box and stop their run game, then you can stop any offense if you can do that. That's not even Ohio State. So, yeah, for sure. And Notre Dame has the defense, but here's the half of the equation. Everybody's like, Texas defense. Well, you got to score on the offensive side too against their elite defense. So they'll probably be able to slow them down. But can Notre Dame do anything offensively versus their defense is where I get caught up more.
Right. They may have a scheme. Do they have the players that Texas has, though, in the secondary and the second level to be able to do what Texas did? You can try to duplicate it, but can you actually do it? Can your players execute it? So that'll be interesting to see because they're banged up a ton for Notre Dame. So we'll see.
Yeah. I pick Ohio State to win that game personally.
Yeah.
Even though I like old Freeman here. Michael Terry was a really good short yardage Wildcat quarterback. Maybe he can be an option.
I like
I
Terry.
would just run Arch.
Yeah, Arch. Yeah, that's the thing is Arch is a big boy. Arch is 6'4" and can run.
Even bigger, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how the Mannings feel about that.
Well, I know how they feel about it. They don't like it. That's that's kind of what clipped.
That was my code. That was my code for they don't like it.
Yeah, that clipped Clemson out of it because there's all this footage of Trevor Lawrence running it in from the 2 and getting his bell rung across the goal line. Yeah, but if you just have Arch do it, and you only do it sparingly, but the threat of pass makes it even easier for him. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That's I don't see Texas doing that. It's fun to theorize though. He would be good at it.
It'd also be cool to just be able to have an offensive line run block and a running back get into the goal line and quit having to do all these like solves.
Yeah,
we're going into year 5 of a regime. We should be able to do this, guys. Notre Dame runs a ton of man. Not sure that bodes well for them. If they want to play ego ball with Ohio State, more power to them. Let them play ego ball with Jeremiah Smith. See how that goes up.
They won't. They won't.
Yeah, they're
Don't
smarter
see it
than
happening.
that. Did you see the old Hayes Fawcett in that account that took that angled picture to make it look like we were triple teaming Jeremiah Smith? Did y'all see that?
There's a whole nother receiver outside, bro. What are you doing?
Crazy.
Man?
We're literally playing quarters. So have you seen it, Eric?
I think I saw somebody. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Purposely cropped out the outside receiver.
Yeah.
So you just see Smith in the slot, and they're saying, "Look, Texas is triple teaming. We're just playing quarters. There's safety up top. Jade's actually guarding the 1. He's just out of frame." And it was hilarious.
Will Howard would have punished that. Senior Will Howard. I don't. He's not exactly Dan Marino, but Will Howard would have punished that if they were doing stuff like that. That's crazy.
They don't understand. If you're triple teaming Jeremiah Smith, everyone else is open. But
Right.
Understand football at that caliber.
That's what I'm saying. You get killed.
And Jeremiah retweets talking about, man, that's crazy. Like, bro, come on. You were not triple team. Stop.
Dude, what happened to Will Howard's athleticism, by the way? He ran for 70 on us and tripped over his own feet wide open. I was like, Will, you used to be able to move a little bit, dude, and you can't move at all anymore.
Those knees are gone, man.
Dude, it was just funny watching him run for 70 on us versus tripping himself. Who do we think will replace Barron in the NASCAR package when Barron plays in the middle of the field? That's our dime kind of 3 safety.
Well, you don't just do that because you do that to get the best personnel on the field, and because Barron could do it, and Barron was used to playing in the middle of the field with so much experience at nickel. So yeah, I don't know if you're looking at some change of paces in the secondary. Could they theoretically put Gilbo at corner and move McDonald down to star? If that would get you, if Taft comes back, that gets you Taft, Williams, and McDonald all at the field at once, but then you're a little worried about your depth. Yeah. I mean, there's some things they can do, but yeah, you did that because you had Jahdae Barron. If you don't have Jahdae Barron, you're probably not inclined to do that. But again, that might be something with Jonah Williams. Who knows?
Barron's one of my all-time favorite Longhorns, man.
Yeah.
That kid is just impressive, man. He holds court with the media. He also gave a closing statement again at the post-game press conference. He gave an opening statement at SEC Media Days like he was a head coach. Then he gave a closing statement. And then when we were doing the media interviews with him on Wednesday, I didn't film all of it because it got too conversational, but he's like asking the reporters questions at that point. It just becomes the kid can hold court. He's got a special mind on top of being talented. All right, let's see this. I did you hear anything about this, Eric? There was speculation that maybe Arch got a concussion or some type of reason why he didn't come in because he got hit on that 4th and whatever in the helmet. Did you hear anything like that?
No, I didn't hear that he got a concussion. No. I mean, I heard the rumor of it, but nobody I've talked to said that he got a concussion. But yeah, I don't know. That sounds like it would be a good narrative to cover up some, why wasn't he out there more?
Well, that's what I heard. I said, if I'm Sark, I'm letting that rumor fly because that's a beneficial narrative. Which position room do you think is most improved, or more cynically, least set back from 2024 to 2025?
Oh boy.
Which position room, including?
Well, I think linebacker's going to be better. Just another year of experience. Edge is going to be better. Just another year of experience. Safety, if Taft comes back, will be better. Just another year of experience with Jelani McDonald back there with him, and Derek Williams hopefully coming back healthy. So the middle of your defense is looking pretty good. If you can solve the D tackle issue, I tend to believe that Brevard and Shaw are better players than they're given credit for. At least have more upside than what they've been given credit for. It was good to see January out there as well. He's going to be good with another year of off season. So really, the middle of the defense is looking pretty good, and the edges. Cornerback's not going to be better because of losing Jade, but you've got Malik Muhammad that's probably going to be ready to step in and be that sort of profile of player. I don't care that he had a couple of bad outings, Clemson and Arizona State. Again, we focus more on standards rather than the outliers. Those were outliers in his career. Everybody coming into the season was more excited about Muhammad than Barron, which is pretty funny in hindsight. So defense is going to be really good again. It's going to be really good. It's going to be better than the offense. I'm not looking for improvement individually at position groups. I'm looking for improvement in scheme. If Sark can get back to his preferred schemes, Arch Manning could have a better year than Quinn Ewers if the scheme takes off. If they're able to run the ball and throw over the top, quarterback will be improved. It's just it's just the bottom line. It doesn't mean that Arch would have been better this season over Quinn. It just means that if they can get the offense on the same page like Sark wants it, we might actually see some all gas, no brakes games.
I do wonder how frustrated Sark is behind the scenes with the offense because it's got to be driving him crazy, dude. The third quarters and the red zone stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, pitching out in that situation, he told you what he thought.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. He thinks his linebacker.
That's the best room.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. But it's also too early to tell. They're not done in the portal. We don't know if they can get some of these guys back. If Matthew Golden comes back, you got Golden, DeAndre Moore, the freshman coming in. I'd include Dalen McCutcheon. Don't sell him short. He's played so much and been productive at a high level. He might come in and surprise and play early. And then Wingo in second year should absolutely take off. So it kind of depends on who comes back.
What about old boy Livingstone?
Yeah, he's got
long speed. Like where's he at in the mix?
Yeah, he's he was on the travel squad. He was they didn't even have him on scout team. So I think that tells you quite a bit about him. Or at least when I asked about him, he wasn't on scout. Probably going to be the guy that has to get on the field due to being on the same page with the quarterback, understanding the route concepts, reading the defenses, kind of guy that kills zone coverage. And then we have to hear that his ball skills are translating like they did in high school. Maybe obviously not exactly like high school, but if he starts winning 50-50 balls against a guy like Malik Muhammad, then the sky's going to be the limit.
And if you guys know anything about Eric, he loves hypotheticals. So who would have been better with NIL and portal, Strong or Herman?
I'm definitely on Herman, man.
Yeah,
I go Strong because they had more pros come off of those teams.
Strong had more pros. Well, I mean, look at the D tackles that came out of Herman's there, the assembly line. You had 6 D tackles come out of the Herman.
That is true. But he didn't develop. He did recruit. You got to give credit, but he didn't build them.
But Strong, look what Strong inherited. He had 5 guys drafted his first year, but he didn't recruit any of those guys, and then he didn't really recruit or develop at that level. It's you got to go Herman because Strong. We know that Strong would not have had a great plan, and
Right.
Strong did not have good infrastructure around him to help with a great plan. So Herman would have had a plan. More players would have wanted to play for Strong, but Herman would have been way more. He would have been way more focused on having a plan to go get those guys.
I definitely agree with that one. Plus, he had BC.
So to
and
me, this feels
Derek
like kind of
Chang, too. Derek Chang was good at a lot of things too.
Oh, Derek.
this feels like kind of a turning point too for the Sark group. To me, the end of this season feels like the end of like generation 1 of Sark. Like that was like, hey, get everything going, get your guys out. This feels like phase 2 of Sark, right? Like the real, can you reload? Where are we at? Multiple good classes, Arch, all that stuff. So I think this is going to be what UT Park is saying. This will be the most competitive spring under the Sark era. Many jobs up for grabs and several less experienced guys trying to make their mark. More of a statement, but how do you guys feel about it?
I agree. Look, Sark said it early in the year, like it's a competition every day around in the building, no matter what they're doing, right? And so with some spots being open coming this spring, like people are going to be up for grabs. Spots going to be up for grabs. Like go get it if you want the spot. And then not only get the spot, you got to prove that you can keep the spot, right? And because there's so many talented guys behind you waiting to jump in and get their opportunity. So I thought Eric wrote about a guy in Kobe Black. Like he got some ton of experience last year. Like I'm ready to see what he becomes, right? Because somebody else is going to want that other side of Malik Muhammad, right? So who gets it? It's going to be a competition every single day, but it makes your team better when you can compete every single day, not just one practice at a time, but every single day, how you carry yourself in the building, you're competing. So I think we need that in the program, though.
Eric, how do you feel about it?
Well, I like what you said about Gen 2. That ties in an article I've got kicked around in my head about how, my appreciation for Quinn Ewers is all about him taking a lot of lumps for the program when it was on the way up. Arch Manning has it a lot easier because Quinn Ewers came before him. Quinn kind of helped accumulate a lot of talent. The program learned how to win under Quinn Ewers. I think that the baton pass from Ewers to Arch is basically the same thing as going Gen 1 to Gen 2. That's a good point. I've got to rethink the competition thing. There's a lot of open jobs. I don't know that the competition is as high level as we've seen it in the past, where one guy is going to be a stud starter. I got to think about that a little bit more. I guess there's competition between Leonga and Ty Anthony, but Leonga's got an upper hand on that. Kobe Black has the upper hand at corner, but do they go to the portal? Will Warren Roberson, could he step up? I guess Warren Roberson could give him some or Jay. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because of the recency bias of Bond or of Barron working so well going back to corner, but I would look at Gilbo over there too. It'll be interesting. I'll rethink. There's going to be plenty of time to talk about competition. Cade Phillips should compete for a starting job. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. He's got the athletic traits and the length you want, but man, it's just the experience level, and not just experience of playing in games, but practicing and all that. Cade's got massive upside. I don't know if he's ready to play right away. I know a couple of comments up that would probably disagree with me though.
Strong. I'm trying to catch up here.
Yeah, I see.
Don't run Eric's Tahoe vacation this year.
That stems from recruiting, where the staff seems like they're going to avalanche a class, and then things go haywire.
And then number one class at the end of the year.
Yeah, right? And then fans lose their mind. I'm trying to caution them. I'm tinkling into the wind, it makes for a bad summer, and then everything works out, and everyone's like, yeah, I knew it was going to work out. Duh.
Nope, that's not what the fans thought in the summer.
No, yeah.
That was funny though this summer. Yeah, because you get some covering recruiting, you're expecting some easy wins in the summer and be able to sit back a little bit, And nope, that's not how it went.
Yeah, going into late June, it looked like they were trending great for Sharma, Charles, and the Belleville kid, DJ Sanders.
Yeah.
And it would look like they could have all three of those guys committed first week or two of July. And everybody knows the importance of D tackle, so I understand the frustration. But yeah, June 28th, you had Sharma changed at the last minute to Oregon, and Charles committed to Florida State.
Yeah,
so that made for a bad day.
I still remember. I remember that week. Us behind the scenes were just like, man, the hits keep coming. The fans were not pleased,
and they don't want to hear that it's going to be good down the road. That's just
right.
It doesn't matter how many times it has been good down the road, or that Texas's approach has been proven right, and I was right. It's going to be a lot different in the fall. It's going to work out. There's some weird things going on right now. Why guys are committing to schools they're not going to end up at. You just got to trust me on that, and then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the NIL era too is also a blast. Coach Top, so how will Jonah earn a spot playing baseball in the spring? I think that's a good question.
Yeah, I think the two head coaches got to work together on that. He got to earn time in playing baseball, but he also got to pick up the football workouts too. So, I mean, a lot's going to be on Jonah, honestly, because he has to get it done from a mental standpoint and physical standpoint. I'm sure the training's a lot different from workouts. So, I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see.
It cracks me up too because coaches act like there's not tension there, but coaches hate when players play other sports at the college level, and so like there's this kind of like, unless it's maybe track, but it is funny too. You got to watch that because coaches will play nice, but they're not always in love with not having their player in the off season.
Getting as many mental reps is going to be very important for him. So even if he doesn't have baseball duties, he'll still be hanging around the football offices. He's been around the football offices, already. Hanging out, going to meetings. So that's going to be important. But it's also important to remember that you probably just give that guy a package his first year, and you have to realize he's different. He's not like most guys. He's athletically different. Just he's physically more mature than most safeties. And so I think he's ahead of the curve in some regards.
What's his baseball position?
Center field, outfield.
Okay,
he's also
so
pitching too.
He's a safety in baseball too.
Yeah.
So all he's doing is tracking. All right, so that works. At least that's good. That can semi-translate. Play the best. So now we're going to play the best people. I don't really understand that one. Quinn Arrow was fun. Yeah, I think people will get mad at Quinn or whatever. If you tell the history of Texas coming back, you have to Quinn's a central figure here, and then Arch gets the chin too and the advantages. But if you're looking pure as a historical account, Quinn is an incredibly important part of that. And what Eric mentioned, Quinn committing signaled to a lot of other high-end players it was okay to come back to Texas now.
Yeah, it was that Quinn and Quinn in concert with the 2022 class after going 5-7 were massive. I mean, that was big for getting Arch. Maybe not Quinn necessarily. the Mannings didn't care. They were they told Texas to go for it. We know you need a quarterback, but then also getting all those offensive linemen,
right?
That really started the rebuild. And so Quinn should always have the respect of fans for that. And maybe he's the guy before the guy, but there's a ton of value for that. Now it's up to Arch to actually keep it going and keep building on it, just as Sark has to.
Yeah, you need the guy before the guy as well. It all counts. It's all laying bricks for the bigger thing. Also, just getting Kelvin to go straight to the league was awesome, man. We couldn't do anything on offensive line. We were in shambles, and now you get Kelvin, who's coming out early first round. It feels great. Bo Barnes might hit the too deep rotation.
Yeah, look, Bo's ready mentally. Like, I got to talk to him because yesterday was moving day. He was like, "I'm just ready to get there and contribute, help this team any way I can." He's not even on the team. He's like, that loss to Ohio State left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, okay, he's different mentally, man. He's ready to go in and go to work. And so I know Eric has said this multiple times. Like, he's going to attack the off season really hard. He's going to adapt very, very quickly. And so how you get a little baby fat off and get in shape, man, go through the spring. I'm excited to see what he does, but I think he can, from a physical standpoint, hit the 2 deep. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I don't know about the 2 deep just because you got Leonga, Ty Anthony Hill, and Spence. But I do think he can play as a true freshman. And I want to thank him for having such a drama-free recruitment. That was one we didn't really have to worry about. Charlie did an amazing job covering that one. And that was one less recruitment to worry about. But I actually think that portends well to his adaptability at school. It seems like that's the place he wants to be. When people are happy with where they're at, they tend to work harder. And I think he's got a very bright future. Yeah, I'm curious to see what he looks like in August. I think he's going to drop some weight rather than put on a lot of weight.
Sorry, I'm looking something up. With the guys going out this year, is this finally a program with all Sark recruits?
Yeah, it'd have to be, right?
Yeah, I think everybody's gone.
Yeah, Helm, Hayden Connor, Benda, of course, was class of 2020. Yeah, it's got to be. It's all 2022 or more, right? I mean, maybe there's one hanging around. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'd have to look at that. But
that's what I was pulling up to look at. It looks like it.
Yeah, because Vernon and Alfred were
Vernon and Broughton and Jade and all of them were 2020s.
Benda might have been 2019 then. Yeah, Benda was 2019.
Wow.
God, these years fly by. I was talking to Jeffrey McCullough the other day.
Benda was 19.
Yeah. Jeffrey McCullough's up in Dallas right now, and he's playing USL ball, and we're just catching up. And he goes, "What are you up to?" I was like, "Well, I'm about to be in Dallas a lot. I got to get to know this 2026 recruiting class." And I go, "That's 10 years from your class." And he's like, "Holy crap,
that's crazy."
It seems like yesterday, man. They go by so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're cleared out unless there's some weird COVID guy lurking around.
Getting one more year.
Yeah. Who are the kick return and punt return candidates next year?
You got a ton of guys with some ability back there. I don't know who's behind Golden. I mean, you can put Niblet back there. I know he got to spin at it, right? So I know that's one guy. He was good in high school at doing it. But
yeah, Niblet makes sense. Niblet makes sense because you have to give him a role too that makes him excited to hang around. Jonte Cook was going to be the punt returner after Bolden. Obviously that did not work out. So this is a good question. Kick return. Who could kick return be? They might just put Wisner back at kick return. I could see that. Just he's gonna get you. He'll get you to the 30. Runs hard. I think
too because Blue declares.
Oh yeah, DeAndre Moore. That's a good one.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, DeAndre Moore makes sense. Let's see.
Any defensive guys sneaky fast?
Well, didn't Jonah return kicks? They won't have
him.
Yeah,
Jonah return kicks.
Yeah, they won't have him doing
that. His high school tape was nuts. He just do whatever he wanted, man. It looked so unfair how big he is compared to all the other players.
Kick return and punt return. Yeah, that's gonna be something to figure out.
I think it was your role for Aaron Butler, maybe. I don't know. He's an athlete.
Kicker, and we're actually going to be having to report on kicking and punting.
So I was going to say the real question is who's going to be kicking and punting.
Yeah, Baumeister, they got in the portal. Like, you expect him to be good, but I anticipate something stupid like me writing about him having trouble to adapt to the lack of elevation. The ball's not traveling as far as it was at 4,500 feet.
He's too oxygenated.
Yeah.
That's that was Moore was the backup at kick return. No.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, I think he was behind Golden.
All right. So also portal. How does the portal work? They have like 5 days to get in it now if they want after the end of the season. How does portal work when you're in the playoffs?
Yeah, Texas has until the 15th. And I think the guys have until the 15th to declare for the NFL, which is incredibly early, but you got to realize these guys either have to go back to class or they should be able to go to class and declare. I mean, I don't know. Why do they have to declare for the NFL so damn early? That's a big decision to make just 5 days after and of course you've got negotiations happening on one side. Texas is trying to get you to come back.
Right.
At the same time, you got to be confident in what you think you're going to get drafted in the NFL, so you can make an informed decision on the financial advantages, disadvantages. So yeah, Littleton, this is a good one. Littleton, if you watch his tape now, his tape. That competition did not look good at all. But if you watch his tape, and I suggest you do it just for the entertainment value.
Grayson Littleton was running around.
Yeah, he's got like 8 returns in his career. It's crazy, but the competition is not great. But yeah, he could potentially be a punt returner. I could see that. That's a good call, Leonard.
All right. So after the 15th, though, we feel good about we don't have to watch out for any potential portal entrants.
Right.
And we should know where everybody's going.
I'm not really worried about portal guys right now.
I don't know if there's like a lingering one or two that are trying to negotiate. You know how it is in the modern era.
I think they would have gone in already. But there's definitely going to be some. I don't know if it would be public, but there will be some behind the scenes things going on in the spring for sure.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
It's always fun, right?
But also, too, I think, with Texas having kind of a weird portaling in the winter, and Eric said Eric's given all his Eric hints that the spring should be a moment of action.
Yeah.
Him in that guard. What about Nyblack? Yeah. What about we're at an hour, but quickly. Someone said earlier they think the tight end room is going to have the biggest drop off. So quick, what do we think about the tight end room? Jordan Washington.
I love Jordan Washington. I think I got an article that was posted while we were on here. I think Joe posted it for me about guys that need to step up. And I love Jordan Washington. So, I don't know. What
do you think about your boy?
Oh man.
Well, he's not coming in early.
Oh, he's not.
Yeah. Townsend didn't come in early. That bummed me out a bit. But he's going to go run track. He'll come in great shape. That's not going to be a concern. I think Knobloch would have gone in the portal already. Had he, he probably would have gone in the portal and played it out through the playoffs if he wanted to. So I think it seems to me like he'll come back, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about him leaving, but Jordan Washington is going to be an absolute stud. It's just kind of a matter of whether or not it's going to be this year or the year after.
Man, I like Jordan Washington a lot.
I do too. Hopefully Knobloch attacks the offseason. He gets a little bigger, stronger point of attack. I'm a miss Gunnar Hill. Shed a tear for that one, but yeah, I don't know about the drop off. We'll see.
Is Juan out of eligibility?
Yeah, Juan came in and he played as a true freshman for some reason. But the Texas offense doesn't require the tight end catching 60 balls. So Jordan Washington is going to be good again, and I think he's got a better chance to be a true two-way tight end than any of the guys they've had recently. So I'm really excited about Jordan. And they'll cobble something together. Spencer Shannon's they're gonna force Spencer Shannon to have a good offseason. Not that he wouldn't anyway, but he's the more important. When you're more important, they find different ways to motivate you and keep it moving. Yeah. And then maybe there's a role for Nick Townsend despite him coming in a little later. So
is the staff happy with the wide receiver room, or will they still go after a big name portal guy?
I would not rule out portal as we've posted in the past. I think it might be more of a slot. They've got it's something about the wide receivers. You got to manage that room a little bit differently than every other position. And they've got some high profile guys on the outside. But yeah, I think they will have to take a wide receiver. It kind of depends on what Golden does if they take an outside guy. But right now, I think they're looking more for inside guy.
Well, and I don't want to start any rumors, but I think Texas is getting Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. So I'm really excited to add those two.
Why do fans keep assuming that Ryan Williams is going to jump in the portal? It's insane.
Because I think two things. Because he said Texas A&M was his number 2, so he's open to coming to the state of Texas. And then also everyone's like preying on DeBoer's downfall. Yeah. He's the worst coach ever, even though they won 9 games.
I think the two dumbest things we've heard this entire season have been, people suggesting Ryan Williams would go in the portal and Ryan Day should be fired after the Michigan loss.
Yeah. Oh. Dude, Ryan Day, what an emotional roller coaster as a leader, dude. Because it was over for you, man. It was over for you after Michigan, and now you have a chance to be the absolute greatest person ever in Ohio State fans' eyes.
Yeah, I can see, that could happen to Texas next year. Texas could lose to A&M. Sark is terrible, on another 4th and 1 play call or something, and then Texas wins the national championship. I mean, sports are crazy like that.
Especially in this new 12-teamer. Has Sark to NFL rumors calmed down?
I don't think there's been any credible rumors. That was Adam Schefter. He's just, I guess he's doing his job. I don't know what he was doing really, but just kind of speculating. But the NFL has been looking at Sark since they went 8-5, and they had that improvement from first year to second year because his demeanor and his personality, his ability to be a CEO coach, but also a schematic coach, really make him an attractive guy. I mean, he would. I don't need to get calls from Texas right now, but he would be a hell of an NFL coach, I think. I mean, the NFL went after Cliff Kingsbury, so I mean, it's going to be Sark is going to be quite attractive.
It's also the 3rd time they've tried to get him. When he was 30, the Raiders wanted him. He literally went to the Falcons. Yeah. So it's not like it's weird that the NFL wants Sark. This would be the 3rd time they want Sark.
Right. Yeah. And I would have been more concerned earlier when he first got to Texas, based on what I've heard, but I don't see him leaving Texas anytime soon. He's got goals, man.
Yeah, I think it's a down the road thing. I don't know if Eric would know dates. Do you have any upcoming important dates that you know of, to the best of your knowledge, like a spring game or summer camp, fall camp start dates? Counting down the days until August 30th. Maybe not exact dates, but we know roughly when everything goes.
Well, whatever that Saturday is in the middle of April is probably going to be the spring game. No, I don't know yet. I'll usually that calendar sort of that stuff comes out here in the next couple of weeks or so. But
yep,
we'll be all over it. I know where you can find it when I do know it.
Inside Texas. Fans, thanks for hanging out. It was a fun season. I enjoyed covering it. And now, like I said, we're going into off-season mode. It doesn't stop. We've got to speculate and worry about personnel now, which will be a lot of fun. But I've enjoyed this episode. Eric, Coach, I appreciate you guys as well. Fans, thanks for coming on. And hook 'em, y'all.